Find your people, then you'll find yourself.
Good morning. Good morning, friends. Welcome to the Boise Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. We are a spiritually diverse, justice-seeking religious community proclaiming the power of love at the core of our living tradition. Love of neighbor, love for ourselves, and love for our planet. Whoever you are, wherever you are in your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. Whatever faiths you have known, if any, whatever doubts you carry, you are welcome here. Whomever you love, however you identify, you are welcome here. Everyone is welcome here. I'm the Reverend Sara LaWall. I use she, her pronouns. It is my great honor to serve this beloved community as your minister. Today, on this Sunday, we gather for the final time in the sanctuary as it looks today. The highly anticipated start of our Serene Sanctuary renovation project has arrived, and construction begins tomorrow. It's very exciting. I want to thank all of you who contributed to our Building a New Way capital campaign, which provided the funding for this project. And I especially want to thank our Engaging Space Implementation Task Force, who has been working on the plans for this project for more than a couple of years now. I'd like to take a moment to honor them by name: Bob Smith, Miriam Waito, Deborah Smith, Bill Reed, and Allie Gooding. Thank you all. Of course, their work isn't done. They will be sort of tending to the ongoing construction and questions and needs as things progress. So we have crafted today's worship service as a time of reflection, honoring, and celebration of this space and how beautifully it has served generations of this beloved community. I'm joined today by Gwyn Reid, who is serving as our celebrant, and we have beautiful music from our choir today, so it's going to be a great day indeed. We're so glad you have joined us. Let's take a moment to welcome our friends and family on Zoom and wave to our cameras, and of course, Zoomers, if you are able, you're invited to turn your cameras on for just a moment so we can see your beautiful faces and welcome you into our space. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mary, Nodell, and Edith, and Cindy. Good morning, Mom. Good morning, Rob. Good morning, Diane. So good to see all of your faces there. Good morning, Jeannie. Good morning, Bob. And a special welcome to our newcomers, those of you who are joining us for the first or second time. We know it takes a lot of courage to check out a new community, and when you come back, it will look nothing like this. But we're so glad you've chosen us this morning. We will still look the same. We will still be here. We invite you to introduce yourselves to us in our hospitality time after the service if you're with us on person, and in the chat if you're joining us online so that we can warmly welcome you. We invite you to fill out newcomer forms, which are located in our entryways, and we'll post a link in the chat so that we can keep you up to date with all of the details that you need to know that are unfolding as we live through this construction time, and all of the different opportunities and events that we have for folks to connect and engage with each other and this community. Today, I have a few announcements as well, quite a few today. Today is also our annual congregational meeting, the one time of year when we gather together as a congregation, when we live into our fifth principle of ensuring and affirming the democratic process, when you, the voting members of this congregation, vote on new board members, nominating committee, affirm our proposed budget for the coming year. So we'll invite you to get your coffee real fast, come right back into this space. We'll still be online on Zoom so that we can establish a quorum, because that's important, and get on with our meeting. And since we will be worshiping together after this Sunday in the North Wing, we will be converting all 3 North Wing classrooms into a temporary sanctuary. In order to do that successfully, we've decided we're not going to have any formal worship next week on the 25th. Instead, we're going to invite all of you out for a Sunday fun day outside in our courtyard where we just have some games. You can bring your own picnic food and just some community time together in order to give us time to prepare the new space. Our first service in the North Wing space will be Sunday, June 1st, and we'll begin that with our annual Flower Communion service. So today, when you go, we invite you all to take your name tags and deposit them in the North Wing area. The South Wing will be closed. We'll move all those name tags over. And then after our annual meeting, we'll invite you to help a little bit because we'll be actually moving some physical things out of the space and into the North Wing. I also want to let you know that during our annual meeting today, you will receive a final report about our Chelan property, that piece of property that is behind the beautiful grove of trees. We've been spending the year discussing options about what we might do with that property. And the ballot has gone live. It is in your emails if you are a voting member. So you can wait until the annual meeting to hear the final details of that report, and then you can vote anytime between now and Wednesday. That ballot will be open for 3 days until Wednesday the 21st. It is an email that comes from a special voting software that we use called OpaVote. So look for that. It won't be coming from Boise UU or Booth. You might need to dig it out of your junk mail. And if you have any issues at all with your ballot, feel free to check in with Nan Harms in our front desk via email or on the phone, and she can help you. And we will also take your recorded votes by phone if you need that. And finally, the long-anticipated moment is here. We have a printed photo directory for you. You may pick up your directory in the entryways, and we'll just keep them out for the next many weeks, and you can grab one here. If you need Nancy to throw one in the mail for you, please call and let us know. Thank you to all of the volunteers who helped make that possible. I know this has been a long time coming, and many of you have been asking and asking and asking. So thank you for your patience, but thank you for your help in helping us get it done. Each week, we center ourselves and ground ourselves in this time and space together by lighting our flaming chalice, the symbol of our free faith, a beacon of hope, love, and justice. We light this chalice in solidarity with thousands of other Unitarian Universalists lighting chalices today in sanctuaries and communities across the globe. As we light our chalice here in the sanctuary, if you have a chalice at home, friends on Zoom, I invite you to light that or a candle nearby, and then share in the chat where it is you have lit your chalice this morning. Thank you, Gwyn. For our gathering hymn this morning, I am going to invite us to think back to the launch of our capital campaign, to sing this beautiful campaign theme song with adapted lyrics as we celebrate the visions that made this moment and these new projects a reality. I invite you to rise and body your spirit as we sing together, Building a New Way.
We come from and live on land considered sacred by many indigenous peoples, known as Bannock, Shoshone, Paiute, and many other tribes that lived here sustainably for thousands of years, inhabiting a vast region including much of Idaho.
We recognize the long history of the land, long before colonization, and acknowledge the ancient tribes whose names have been lost in history.
With this acknowledgement, we wish to demonstrate our commitment to dismantling the legacies of settler colonialism. We honor Indigenous peoples' connection to the land and support their right to sovereignty.
In the challenges of these truths, may we move through the world bringing justice in every way that we can, listening to the truths spoken to us by Native American peoples, making space for them to re-inhabit this place, and giving them back the resources they need to heal their communities.
Our spiritual theme for this month of May is living love through the practice of imagination. Today, our service honors the collective imagination of the generations before us who lovingly found and built this space for our beloved community, and the collective imagination of those who help us live into a new vision for this space and for our future together. So as we enter this time of worship together, I invite us all to take a breath together. Fill your body with breath. Breathe, knowing that our breath connects us to one another, to our bodies, and to our planet. Our breath offers us an opportunity to tune in to our spiritual center, to listen deeply to our heart's own longing. As you hear the words of our opening poem this morning, I invite you to hear those thines and nows as spoken to this sanctuary space, this home that we have inhabited for many decades. Thou art the song of my heart in the morning. Thou art the dawn of truth in my soul. Thou art the dew of the roses adorning. Thou art the woven whole. Thine is the grace to be steadfast in danger. Thine is the peace that none can destroy. Thine is the face of the need-riven stranger. Thine are the wings of joy. Thou art the deep, to the deep in me calling. Thou art a lamp where my feet shall tread. Thy way is steep past the peril of falling. Thou art my daily bread. Thine be the praise of my spirit uplifted. Thou art the sea to each flowing stream. Thine be the days that are gathered and sifted. Thou art the deathless stream. In anticipation of moving out of this space and creating a new temporary sanctuary in our North Wing classrooms, I invite us to bless this space where we tenderly bring our hearts and spirits each week by singing hymn number 1 in the gray hymnal words also on the screen, "May nothing evil cross this door."
Our call to worship this morning is from the late Universalist minister, Reverend Kenneth Patton. It is reading number 444 in the gray hymnal, and the words will also appear on the monitors and the Zoom feed. I invite the congregation to join me in this call. I will read the plain text, and please respond with the italicized text. This house is for the ingathering of nature and human nature.
It is a house of friendships, a haven in trouble, an open room for the encouragement of our struggle.
It is a house of freedom, guarding the dignity and worth of every person.
It offers a platform for the free voice, for declaring both in times of security and danger, the full and undivided conflict of opinion.
It is a house of truth-seeking, where scientists can encourage devotion to their quest, where mystics can abide in a community of searchers.
It is a house of art, adorning its celebrations with melodies and handiworks.
It is a house of prophecy, outrunning times past and times present in visions of growth and progress.
This house is a cradle for our dreams, the workshop of our common endeavor.
In this cradle for our dreams and workshop for our common endeavor, come, let us worship together. With our promise of building a beloved community, we celebrate our commitments to being a multi-generational community, a community of generosity, and a community of care and connection. In that spirit, I'd like to invite our children up front here for our time for all ages.
How's everybody doing? Thumbs up? Thumbs up? Congregation, thumbs up? All right, thank you. All right. Today's story, I've got props. Yeah, okay, that's good back there. I know it's very interesting. Okay. So this story is called The Magic Paintbrush. The story of the magic paintbrush. And it's a Chinese folktale. Okay, Oliver. I know. Sit. Thank you, my friend. Hands to yourself, Oliver. Thank you. So long ago, Oliver, hands to yourself. Thank you. In a small village in China, there lived a kind-hearted boy, and his name was Ma Liang. You're gonna have to leave it alone, my friend.
I understand that,
So, though he had no real paintbrush, he used he used sticks, and he drew great paintings, just with sticks in his mind. And he always imagined that these things would come to life. And one night, he dreamed of an old man who gave him a magic paintbrush. And he whispered, "Use this paintbrush only to help. Only to help those in need." And when Ma Liang woke, guess what? The magic paintbrush was real. Whoa. He had a magic paintbrush. And in his dream, anything that he drew with the magic paintbrush would spring to life. So eager to test his power, he imagined, thank Thank you. Thank you for your enthusiasm, Oliver. A great bird. And when he finished the bird, it sprung to life. Whoa. Whoa. And then, Ma Liang, he imagined a fish. And when he finished the painting of the fish, guess what happened? It sprung to life and swam into the sea. And he imagined, and he realized that his imagination, thank you, sir, answer yourself. His imagination was a gift. He got to work using his paintbrush to help those in need. He painted food for those who were hungry. And he painted for villagers who were thirsty. He painted the water. Where'd it go? Yeah, I know. Thank you, sir. He painted the water for all the villagers in drought. And one night, when the farmers, they were working hard, but they hadn't finished their harvest, and it was turning dark, he painted a great light that lit up the sky. I know. All right, all the tricks are done. But soon, the word of his magic tooth paintbrush had passed throughout the land. And it got word to a greedy emperor who demanded that Ma Liang use it to make him gold and riches. You think that's what the paintbrush was meant for? Probably not. So when Ma Liang refused, the emperor threw him in prison, and he took the magic paintbrush for his own. It is a real paintbrush. It's a real paintbrush. So he threw Ma Liang in prison, and the emperor drew pictures of gold and riches for himself and himself only. And guess what? They didn't come to life. They didn't come to life. Why don't you think they came to life?
Because it only works for him.
For him, but for what else?
For the person who had it first.
Okay, and what else?
It only works for the person who helps people in need and not for their own.
Right, for people, paints it for people in need, yes.
The magic comes from selflessness.
The magic comes from selflessness. Beautiful, I love that. That's exactly it. Now it's kind of the opposite of selflessness, drawing great gold for himself. So, furious that it wasn't working, the emperor summoned Ma Liang. He says, if you create some drawings for me and bring them to life, I will set you free. And Ma Liang, he did not want to serve such a horrible guy, but his imagination and his selflessness gave him hope. So he devised a clever plan. What would you like me to draw? Said Ma Liang. And he said, I would like a mountain made of gold. And I'll go there and I will get all the gold. So Ma Liang got to work immediately. But first, he had a plan. He first painted the sea. Painted the sea. So he couldn't immediately get to this treasure. Next, Ma Liang drew the gold mountain that the emperor had requested. but it was far, far away. The emperor said, well, paint me a massive ship immediately. And so Ma Ling painted the ship, and he grinned silently. And the emperor hopped onto the ship and set out to find the treasure. Now, Ma Ling could have done all sorts of things while he was on the ship, but he waited until the emperor got to the great mountain, where he thought he had all the gold that he could ever spend in the world. So when the ship reached the faraway mountains, Ma Ling painted a hole in the bottom of the boat. So the cruel emperor could never return. And there he was stuck with his mountain of gold, but he was all alone. And Ma Ling returned to the village and lived a long and happy life, and he continued to use his imagination and the magic paintbrush to help others in need. The end. Afterwards, you can play it if you want to play with it. Thank you for your help, Oliver.
Although our young people are staying with us today, and we have our playground in the back, I'm going to invite us all to join together to sing our community blessing.
When we give, we say yes to the natural cycle of abundance in our lives, and we say yes to building beloved communities within and beyond our walls. We commit ourselves to do work for justice and compassion for all people and our earth. Today, as an expression of that commitment and living out our faith in the world, we share those gifts with our plate partner, Idaho Abortion Rights Collective. I'd like to invite Julie Allen to share more about this month's plate partner.
Apparently sat as far away as possible. Good morning. My name is Julie Allen. I am visiting you this morning from Hyde Park Mennonite Fellowship. I am also a member of the Idaho Abortion Rights Collective. We have been distributing emergency contraceptives and other reproductive-related healthcare items for about the past 3.5 years. In that time, we have distributed over 48,000 pieces of healthcare products. That includes emergency contraceptive, like the Plan B pill, pregnancy tests, condoms, as well as literature connecting folks with resources for things that we can't provide. We also partner with other organizations that help folks get out of state when that is what they need, or getting them medication that they need. So all of your donations today go to providing that emergency contraceptive, getting those products out into our communities. We have reproductive boxes statewide in about 24 big and small cities. And none of us are paid. We are all a volunteer staff, so 100% of your donations go directly towards providing that care. So thank you very much. We appreciate your generosity, and thank you for helping our community. I have one more announcement to make that has nothing to do with Idaho abortion rights, but Sarah said I could say it. So, I am also a member of Mennonite Action, which is a fairly new national organization that is calling for a ceasefire in Palestine. We have Mennonite churches across the country who are doing actions through the spring and summer to raise awareness and advocacy for that. So Hyde Park Mennonite Fellowship is co-sponsoring with Mennonite Action a service on the Capitol steps next Saturday, May 24th at noon. And we would love to see some of our friends from the community there. So that's noon next Saturday at the Capitol steps. And we will also be having a sign-making party this Thursday at 7 p.m. at Hyde Park Mennonite Fellowship. So I hope to see some of you there. Thank you so much.
By virtue of Julie's role at Hyde Park Mennonite Fellowship, she has been a real partner in growing our interfaith collaboration around reproductive justice across our community. So we're really grateful for that work and for the work of Idaho Abortion Rights, who are one of the only organizations in the state of Idaho providing frontline direct support to people in need. And when we had our reproductive lesson during our junior high OWL class, we shared Abortion Rights Collective among other resources with our kids. And when it was all done at the end of the whole 27 sessions of OWL, and we said, you know, what did you learn? They all said, I learned that I can go to Idaho Abortion Rights if I need help, and they all put it in their phones. So know that you are doing good work, and it's and the young people are paying attention. I invite our ushers to please come forward. Our offering will now be received. As our ushers bring our offering gifts forward, I invite us all to join together in the collective blessing of our offering this morning. So freely given, may generosity always be our companion as we walk the holy path toward ever greater compassion and beauty. Thank you. When I was 5 years old, we moved from a tiny house in central Tucson, the first house my parents bought together and the only home I had ever lived in, But I was about to start kindergarten, and my mother wanted more space and a better school district. And she found a beautiful home which we rented for a few years in the foothills, in the Catalina foothills. It was huge by comparison to the tiny 900 square foot 2-in-1 we were leaving. And the bedroom that I would inhabit was so big. It felt like my own apartment. The new house had a giant yard that was bricked in so I could roller skate to my heart's content, and an enclosed family room, the kind that I had only ever seen in movies, with toys and space for all the games and hanging out. And I was really excited to move into this palatial new home, imagining a whole new future in such a big, beautiful place. But when it came time to leave our tiny house on Linden Street, I completely fell apart. When my 5-year-old self realized that moving meant leaving behind my beloved hand-painted Winnie the Pooh wall, drawn and painted by my mom and aunt in anticipation of my birth, I was devastated. Here it is. I made my mother dig up a picture, my very own 100-acre wood with all the characters, my friends who lived there and watched over me every single night since I could remember. Each night before I would go to sleep, we would say goodnight to each of them. Good night, Rabbit. Good night, Eeyore. Good night, Tigger, who never wanted to go to sleep. And so on. Good night, Owl and Pooh. But coming to terms with the fact that the wall would not be coming with me to the new home was devastating. I cried and cried and cried. And so before we left our house, my sweet mother crafted one last ritual of goodbye. We took pictures, thank God we still had them. I drew my own pictures, and then we painstakingly said goodbye to each of the characters and their homes, one by one, touching them as we went. I would have hugged them if I could. Goodbye, Rabbit. Goodbye, Eeyore. Don't be sad. Goodbye, Tigger. Goodbye, Piglet. Goodbye, Owl. Goodbye, Pooh. Goodbye, Christopher Robin. Goodbye, 100-acre wood. I cried some more. My mother tried to console me in my grief, telling me my cherished wall would always live in my heart and mind and in my imagination and memory, that my love for my friends in 100-acre wood would always be with me. And she was right, as mothers so often are in moments like that. I have lived in so many different houses and apartments since then, each with their own special memories, but I have never forgotten that wall. I can imagine it in my mind sometimes. Of course, in my imagination, it didn't look anything like the picture. But it sits there like an imaginary friend, offering me comfort and moments of delight when the metaphorical walls of life feel like they're closing in on me and crushing my spirit. Which is the power of imagination, really. It not only invites us into hope and possibilities for a better future, but it accompanies us along the way, allowing us to hold on to the sacred, cherished memories that move with us through life's big changes. Imagination populates our lives. It improves our lives. It illuminates our lives. Imagination is the spark for transformation. And collective imagination, the kind that we practice together as a spiritual community, magnifies imagination's power, conjuring up possibilities and visions none of us could have imagined on our own, becoming a kind of anchor to which we can tether ourselves when we get tired or lost or uncertain, to fill up our own cup with the imagination we generate together. That is, after all, how we got here. This building, this property was the result of the collective imagination of our Booth ancestors. Those who never stopped imagining a future for this community way back when they met in people's living rooms. And later when they had moved into the tiny Pierce Park building, and again when they moved here and found this property, and all that existed was an old horse pasture. And while these moments of growth and eventual transformation came in part out of a practical need for more space and a sense of permanency, just like my mother's choice to move came from a similar need for more space and good schools. But the transformation was more than that, because it was never just about the space or just about the building or just about making the grounds pretty and tidy. It was always fueled by the collective imagination of who we could become for each other and for the community, and about how our space that we would inhabit could help us do that. It was about our values and what we represented and the difference we could make if we could stay together and imagine together. A place for free thinkers and justice makers. A place for religious refugees leaving phase of their family because it no longer fit. A place for theists and atheists and pantheists and agnostics and everything in between. A place with more questions than answers, where you are not told what to think, but invited to imagine new ways of being. A place of welcome and refuge from the storm of life and the world, and a world where you might be seen and known and loved for exactly who you are. And this collective imagination has never left us. It has only grown bigger and bolder as this community has grown. Now, all of this growth and change and transformation as the result of this collective imagination hasn't always been smooth and simple. Communities have conflicts and disagreements, right, Elizabeth? Yes. Some of us love certain things like hymn singing and prayer and more spiritual language. Some of us don't. Some of us like long, complex sermons. Some of us don't. Some of us love diving into finances and fundraising. Some of us prefer potlucks over protests. In the very early days of Booth, words like worship, God, and prayer were challenged, and the singing of hymns was avoided. There was even resistance to passing a collection plate because it smacked too much of organized religion. Except when the community took up an offering, they found they had more money to support the fellowship. So a compromise was reached, and they would call it a collection basket, not a plate. And that is why we have baskets today. It's true. That might change too, friends. Be forewarned. Just, lots of change. But through the years, through the disagreements, through the growth and transformation, the collective imagination for who this place, this people could become remained. It waxed and it waned, but it never disappeared. It was the fuel that kept this community going. One of Booth's early founders, Ethel Hopper, who helped establish those early fellowship meetings in people's homes, wrote about the early days of the fellowship and all of the toil and labor and love and imagination people gave to building this community and making it a home. She wrote these words: "If the Unitarian movement could have been destroyed in Boise, it would have been. There were many discouragements, but we are stronger and more hopeful than ever. We surely have a reason to live and the will to do so. We must never lose faith in each other. And we haven't. We haven't because we are still here and we have grown and changed and transformed along the way. Here we are together, stronger and hopeful. I hesitated to say more hopeful than ever, but we're still hopeful. It is what we do when we come together. We conjure that hope for one another, following the collective imagination of this generation of Booth's leaders who invite us to take the next steps toward our future. Leaving behind this sanctuary for a new vision that asks us to imagine what we can become, who we need to be for each other and for our wider community. A refuge, a place of peace, a sanctuary, a house of welcome, a home to a beloved community of resilience, care, and solidarity, a home that holds us as we live into our next collective imagining for the future. And while we are excited for this new vision for a serene sanctuary, really, truly excited with a new, much larger, full chancel space, a more spiritual feel, and a more modern look, we honor what we leave behind and all the imagination and love that built this space and brought us to this moment. This might be our 100-acre wood, lovingly crafted and tended to by generations of Booth members and friends. There are stories in the walls and the floor, and the lights and the paint, in the handcrafted quilts and the pulpit, in the closet that was once the minister's office. Unimaginable. This space, this home, this very room will never stop holding our hopes and dreams, our love and joy, our collective imagination for our future together. May it always be so. Amen. And to honor the hopes and dreams, the joy and the love and the imagination from our past, our present, and our future, I thought it would be good for us to have our own little ritual of goodbye to the space as it exists now, to bless it with our gratitude and love for all that it has held and all that is yet to unfold. So around the room, you'll see small plastic bins of golf pencils scattered about through the perimeter, and you are invited to gently write or draw a blessing or a message of gratitude on the walls. They will be painted over, but our notes and blessings will be preserved in a kind of time capsule of love and gratitude. I ask you to write gently so as not to make the new paint too complicated an endeavor, and write briefly. If you have more to say, you are welcome to write it and share it to be preserved in writing in our historical archives, but this is just a moment of blessing and gratitude. We'll play some music and we'll share our This Is Our Home video while we do this. And I want to invite you to allow this moment to be reflective and sacred, rather than a moment of chatter and conversation, a moment of honoring this sanctuary and all that it has given us over the years. Be free to write and bless.
This is our home, this is the place where we gather and give thanks. Here we welcome all inside the arms of love. Through the storm, through the sun, we come together as one. For this is where peace and justice
a place to laugh and shed our tears, a place to celebrate and share our fears, a place of belonging where we don't feel alone. We all need friends, we all need care, we all need love. So we come home into this place where we gather and give thanks. Here we welcome all inside the arms of love. Through the storm, through the sun, we come together as one. For this is where peace and justice abide. This is our home.
We all need a place to wander and to dream, a place where we become who we want to be, a place of hope and healing where we feel whole. We all need help, we all need strength, we all need love.
So we come home into this place where we gather and give thanks. Here we welcome all inside the arms of love. Through the storm, through the sun, we come together as one. For this is where peace and justice abide. This is our home.
There's a roof overhead to keep the rain from down.
And the walls keep the winds at bay.
The windows, they let the sunshine in.
So no matter the weather, we'll find shelter together come what may. We all need a place that shines a mighty light, a place to work for all that's just and right, a place to share our bounty, to build a better world. We all need faith, we all need hope, we all need love. So we come home into this place where we gather and give thanks. Here we welcome all inside the arms of love. Through the storm, through the sun, we come together as one. For this is where peace and justice abide. This is our home. 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 This is our home.
So, friends, if you are finished with your blessing, I invite you to find your way back to your seat. Don't forget, we're here all afternoon, so if you didn't get a chance to write what was on your heart, we'll leave the pencils. Thank you. What a delight to just experience this moment together. Not quite 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago now, when this space was complete for, I think, the second time, when it kind of was ready to be re-inhabited as a sanctuary space, the Booth Choir, under the direction of its brand new choir director at the time, Carrie Bastian, sang this song to dedicate the space. And they sing it again today to keep that dedication and appreciation alive in gratitude for all this space has provided our community and all that it will continue to provide for generations to come. You, the congregation, are invited to join the choir in singing on the third verse. The words will appear on the screen. And then as the choir finishes, we will initiate a candle lighting ritual using the candles on your seat, so you can get those ready to go. Together, kindling the light of community and our collective imagination.
This
Oh, that was beautiful, friends. I will invite you to keep your light lit for as long as is comfortable for you. So if you need to blow it out at any time, you can, but we'll do the next little part in candlelight together. This very room has held the joys and sorrows of this beloved community for 3 decades. Decades of tears and laughter, illnesses, celebrations of life, graduations, bridging, weddings and anniversaries, baby and child dedications. This sacred space, these walls hold the memories and hopes and dreams of this beloved community, reminding us that we need not journey through this life alone. These walls hold the sharing that have forged deep bonds of community and connection, and they will keep holding us for many years to come. Today we share these joys and sorrows. We hold in our hearts Frances Kilkenny, who had a surprise, unfortunate gallbladder infection and will be having upcoming surgery. We celebrate with Deborah Smith's daughter, Dante, who successfully unionized her place of work after 4 years. Quite a feat in these days, for sure. And we celebrate with Jane Rowling, who celebrates her niece's graduation with a master's in social work last Saturday, and then law school on Monday. Both degrees from Washington University in St. Louis, and in August she'll start a clerkship for a federal judge in Alabama. Amazing work. If you are holding someone in your heart this morning, I invite you to speak their name aloud or share it in the chat that we might hold them with you. May the arms of this community hold all our joys and sorrows. those named and those that remain silent and close to our hearts. May we feel a grace in the room and be transformed by the spirit of life and love, with a warmth to celebrate our joys and a gentleness to soothe our aching hearts. Let us breathe together. Fill your body with breath. Breathe in beautiful memories of this sacred space. Breathe in the hope and healing, the welcome and possibility these walls have held, protecting us and fueling us, recharging our spirits each week. Spirit of life and love, holy mystery, may we always be held by sacred space, infused with the joys and sorrows, hopes and dreams of our beloved ancestors and this community, built on the collective imagination of generations who saw a vision and kept moving forward with courage, conviction, and love, bringing us here in this very room, kindled by the light of that divine spark that lives in each of us, that beacon of light in our chalice that beckons those in search of a home where welcome abounds and resistance is a spiritual practice, where love knows no borders, where imagination sparks hope. As we build a new way for this beloved community and future generations, protecting our planet, offering sanctuary, refuge, and beauty in a community of belonging filled with love, and building upon our collective imagination, may we continue the journey and take care of this house, forging ahead toward ever greater justice, ever greater peace, ever greater compassion, and ever greater flourishing. In the name of all that is holy, we pray. Amen. Beloveds, I invite you to rise as you are able and place a hand over your heart if you're still holding a candle for our closing blessing. This closing blessing is adapted from Barbara Peskin and Brian Tate. Because of those who came before, we are. In spite of their failings, we believe. Because of and in spite of the horizons of their imagination, we too dream. Let us never lose sight of those horizons, practicing collective imagination that we may never lose hope or give up on a brighter future, full of justice, peace, welcome, and love for all people. And may we infuse it here in this space, this sanctuary, that it may always be a refuge and a home for all who seek it. Let us take care of this house. Blessed are we all. Go in peace.
Why don't you get in here?